Yeah, hello! What's good, everybody? Everyone Post here with some more Genshin. Now, we got the 2.5 announcement of what the banners are going to be, which we're going to have MIKO coming soon. She's going to be beautiful. I'm going to be hard-pulling fond of her. I'm very excited, as well as the second round of banners is going to be the return of Kokomi, one of my favorite units in all of Genshin Impact, as well as Raiden Shogun. Now, today, Kokomi, quit talking. Now, today we're going to go over what is going to be the pros and cons of summoning on them versus YAE MIKO, what is Kokomi going to bring for us, and what is Raiden Shogun going to bring to us. Then the differences between all of that, and we'll see what YAE MIKO holds, and who honestly would be a better option to summon on in this point of view, and what you have and what you need, and all of that. So, before we start, as a side note, I stream on Twitch a couple days a week. If you want to give me a follow, it's down in the description below. I would truly appreciate it if you just throw me a follow. And with that, let's move on to Kokomi Raiden. Okay, first things first, we're going to look at Kokomi. One of best, I think, Hydro Healer. She's one of my favorite units. I loved her design since day one. Yes, purely aesthetics is what drew me to her, but not just the aesthetics, she's actually insanely good. Now, I actually went a little ham and picked up a couple constellations for her because it actually helps so much. She gets a little extra hydro damage, as well as she actually gets a little extra damage based off her HP and her healing and stuff, which actually you don't actually proc this one that much, so I'm going to be honest, this one's actually not that useful. But what's the most useful ones is this one, which I hope to get one day, which gives her attack speed, and her attack speed is actually super giga important because the faster she attacks, the more damage she does when she's in her burst, therefore hitting harder. And then her C6, which also does even more damage. You get extra 40% hydro damage when you're healing members with 80% or more HP, which is pretty much all the time when you're on your burst. So your burst is actually your bread and butter. You're pretty much nothing without it. I'm working towards triple crowning her, but if it wasn't so much Mora, and doing Sonora bosses also held me back behind, but now it's talent books, everything's just holding me back. I'm working on it. We will triple crown Kokomi soon to come. I will have it by the time her banner reruns because we might be trying to go and C6 her. Anyways, her basic attacks or whatever, it's a cool 3 performance fish attack, which does like whatever. It's honestly, you don't really use it unless you're outside of your burst, or like you don't use it outside of your burst. Then your talent, your elemental skill, you summon out a jellyfish. It pulses every 2 seconds for 6 seconds, I believe, and will heal you each time. So you get a bunch of HP for a percentage of her max HP, which will grant, like, so if you have a little super squishy unit, then she'll giga heal them. If you'll notice, my Kokomi-chan has about 40k HP. You can actually have more than that on her, but I chose to go a little bit more damagey route, to which she actually does extremely large amounts of damage. Now, everyone destroyed Kokomi. Everyone shat on her and said she was a terrible unit. She's not even good. She's never going to be useful. She is such a joke because everyone's just a crit, one-tap meta, blah, 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 blah. But what people don't consider is an overall DPS in general. Most people just ignore DPS, damage per second. Over time, you can actually do so much damage. I honestly, at times with my burst, I can kill things faster, if not like faster, better, quicker than like a Zhao even per se, or a Ganyu. So it just depends at that time, like the point in time and what she's got set up for her. But the problem that I will take note of is that Kokomi in general by herself is not that great. You want to have a good setup for her. So usually you want a zap. You want some level of zap, whether it be official or hence like the Raiden that's going to be coming with her. So I think Kokomi and Raiden are actually extremely good together. You could use Beidou as well. Beidou, official, and Raiden are probably the top 3 people I would want on your team if you are holding a Kokomi. Beidou might even be better than Raiden, but I prefer Raiden just in general, just because I love her energy recharge and I love her kit, and Raiden is just more beautiful in general. So, Kokomi, overall fantastic unit. Everyone says, why use Kokomi when you have Barbara? Well, Kokomi can do all sorts of things, and she has constant hydro application, and she has much better heals than Barbara, in my opinion. And I think she just brings so much more to the table. And you can actually play Kokomi as a healer when you actually use your burst. Now, a lot of people say your artifacts don't matter. She sucks. And honestly, they're almost kind of true, or like correct about that, because like the artifacts you don't actually have to worry too much because you don't have to focus crit and crit damage. Now, she does have the minus 100% crit rate, which is truly unfortunate. It is what it is. So you don't have to worry about crit, but it's both a double-edged sword because you don't actually have to worry about trying to get that Giga God piece crit rate, crit damage on her, which I actually kind of love. It was actually super fun to be able to grind out artifacts for her because there you get to look for things. But which was actually odd was the Ocean Wade, which is the brand new set made basically for her, but also works on many other healers. It brings her so much damage, and honestly, this thing. Basically, you pop out thing for 3 seconds, do damage, heals, however much you heal, it'll go explode, and it explodes for amounts that you've healed in that period of time for big poopy damage. So This has actually hit for about 30k at times, which is just like a passive. So it turns on, and then it turns off, and then it turns on, and it hits for like a 30k damage if they're within the range of it. You have to acknowledge that it is fairly close. So if you're attacking far away with Kokomi, then you're not going to be utilizing your artifact set, the 4-piece of it. So do make sure that you're actually close within people. As for your build, I go HP%, Hydro, as well as healing bonus. She does have extra damage off her healing bonus, and she has extra damage off her max HP, so you want to be using those. This is actually one of my best pieces on her. I think it's fantastic. The healing bonus is great, and the hydro damage. If you want to just go straight HP, I guess that's an option, but I think this is definitely better all around, because the healing bonus for sure gives you extra healing, not only, which also affects the artifact piece set because you're healing more, which gives you more damage on that, as well as you also increase your own personal traits with your extra healing bonus damage. That's insane. So, weapons. Now, for weapons, the Everlasting Moonclaw, I wailed for her because I wanted the donut, and y'all know how I did, and I wanted that. If you really don't have any other option, actually, this Sterling Tales of the Dragon Slayer is probably one of her better, like, other go-to options, because you get, like, max HP, you're going to be healing better, you're going to be stronger. Sadly, this is kind of her best second option, per se. So you don't really have too many other things, because yeah. So hopefully if you do want her donut, you want to try and go for her donut. If you are a whale, then you could, but given you're probably just going to be using her for a hydro support and not necessarily DPS or as much damage, you could always go Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayers. This works just fine. It gives her, you're mainly using it for the HP substat is your best thing. Now, enough about Kokomi. I think she's actually going to be extremely worth. The question is, she'll be fantastic. Do you want to pull on her? I definitely recommend yes. If not, that's fine too. But I think she's one of my favorite units. I always have her in my party. She's extremely great. I am going to personally rate her a 10 out of 10. But I mean, that's my own personal bias, so it's up to you. But the other options, you're going to want a Zap comp. So I would say potentially you could go for MIKO. We'll see what MIKO fully brings when she actually comes. She's going to be coming extremely soon. Probably tomorrow is by the time when I post this video. But MIKO should be here. The question is, how good will Kokomi be with MIKO? The other thing is, how good is actually 2 Catalyst users on a single team? Because Catalyst users together just don't usually seem to be mixing well and doesn't go together too often. So I don't necessarily think MIKO and Kokomi will want to be used on the same team, but it could be a permanent like fat zap comp and will be disgusting, and Kokomi may just burst, like increase MIKO's damage significantly. But otherwise, it's kind of going to be drawing down to a MIKO slash Raiden type of fight. Like, who do you want on your team? Raiden, actually insanely good. Her constellations are fine, but the main thing that you're want to be looking out for is her C2, because you ignore 60% of the opponent's defense. So if you're going to whale or you want to Giga Whale, this is your go-to constellation. This is the one that's going to bring you like all the stuff. And then you have your C6 is also kind of nutty, but like, your C2 is like what makes her a main DPS. Other than that, she's probably a sub DPS. I might want to go for this C2. We'll see. Depends. I don't know. My wallet's already kind of struggling. Now, don't make fun of me and my emblem set. I have been grinding this for years, ever since it's come out. And I still have absolute garbage pieces on my Raiden. So you're going to want 4-piece on her. It boosts her damage. The set was literally made for her. It's her color. It's just everything. You like, don't even bother going anything else. Just go this. So I go Devil Attack with a crit rate. If you really want to, you can do electro damage, but Devil Attack I think is personally better. It's my own preference. It's up to you. So run 4-piece that, and then you're going to be wanting to get a little bit of extra crit rate, crit damage per usual, as well as your attack percent. So try and stack those, and that will make her. As for weapon choices, you can go, I love the aesthetic. I always go for the main weapons. If you don't have the main weapon, you're definitely second best. It's probably about the catch. Gives you the ER, and it kind of makes up for it. And you can R5 the catch, which is what makes it really good. It does take a minute because you have to do a lot of fishing, but I would say it is definitely worth it with the catch. Raiden is fantastic. Raiden is also extremely good, 10 out of 10 unit. She brings so much to your team. She gives you a shock on everything. So if you're using even just someone like Zhao as a main DPS, you can use her E. You can open up her eye, and then where is she? Open up her eye, and then anyone you use, I can just shock anything. So whenever I use that, it'll shock. I wish there was enemies here around me, but there's not at this current point in time. But she kind of buffs anything, and that's why her and Kokomi are actually insanely good together, because every time you auto attack and basic attack, you will get an electro shock or like zap comp. So that's where the Kokomi plus the Raiden combo comes in, which makes them insane, which is why I truly do recommend that they are worth summoning for. And I think they are some of the best units and fit into some of the most teams as of right now. They don't have a truly specific niche teams that they need to be on in order to be useful, which is why I think they're definitely going to be worth it. YAE MIKO, I have a feeling, will be really good. She'll be a main like electro kind of DPS vibe is what I'm getting from her. But we'll see how many actual team comps she fits into. Kokomi, yes, Hydros might be bad at sometimes, and it might not fit in, might not be too good for everybody. But the thing is, she can always just bring heals. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I can even bring her into like any of the like water-based bosses, and then I have, as long as I have Raiden, and then I have Ganyu and Shenhe, which actually this team together is one of my main teams for the Abyss, and it actually does insanely well. This team actually just melts and destroys every single floor that I've gone through, in all the way through like the floor 12, and I don't struggle whatsoever. And Kokomi is the only one who has constellations. Everyone else is C0, so that's another thing. So Raiden and Kokomi are definitely worth it, in my opinion. If you're thinking about summoning, I would recommend. I can't talk about these two enough. I'm #1 Kokomi main, so hopefully I'll be able to get her C6. And I'm obsessed. Now, we'll see what YAE MIKO brings. I will try and leave a comment down on the bottom of this video if I change my mind and think that YAE MIKO might be better than either of these two, or if you should just skip them, or if YAE MIKO maybe synergizes with Raiden extremely well. We'll see what happens when she fully comes out, because I want to see her full kit and everything she does when it comes to her talents and whatnot. But Raiden, overall, first off, one of the most beautiful units in all of Genshin Impact. I'm sorry I'm going to Gigasim here, but it is what it is, and you can't deny it. So, Raiden fits into so many teams, so many comps extremely well. I think she's just too versatile to be able to skip on, and she brings so much, and she can be a main DPS if you're willing to be able to get her to C2. Otherwise, she's kind of a sub DPS, and she does a good chunk of damage, but you'll definitely want a main hyper carry on her, such as someone like Zhao, or as in my case, I've kind of been using Ganyu. Honestly, my Ganyu isn't fully like built that much out, so I kind of use like 2 sub DPSs, and Kokomi, I kind of just, everyone does a little bit of damage, and Shenhe just kind of buffs them as well, and well as Kokomi keeps everyone healthy. So this is kind of a good solid team that I would run, and it is recommended. So overall, that is my recommendations for Kokomi. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think you're going to summon for? Some of you may be saving for Kazuha. There are rumors of Kazuha who might be out in 2.6. We'll see what happens, because I will kind of need him, and he fits into so many teams as well and is extremely versatile. And I think Kazuha, honestly, throwing him into a team like this, if you were to run Kokomi, Kazuha, Raiden, and Zhao, that team would actually be extremely phenomenal, and it would bring out so much damage. So I think that's exciting to see what's going to happen once I get there, once I actually get those units, because I skipped the Kazuha the first time because I knew Kokomi was coming, so I was saving for her. Anyways, that is enough of my ranting. I hope this video helps you guys like decide who you would like to run. But overall, Kokomi, fantastic unit, is beautiful, and Raiden is also fantastic, and will get you guys far through the Abyss, and we'll take you guys through the story as well, and they're just beautiful to look at in general. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe if you did. If you didn't, that's fine too, but that's my recommendations, and let me know who you guys are going to pull for. So be sure to also check me out on Twitch. I do stream twice a week, and I hope you guys go follow that. I would appreciate it. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm your boy Roman Puss, and I'm gonna be taking off. Yeah, peace, beautiful people.